We live in such a connected world that with prepping, I'm always thinking about how I can communicate with people. Typically, this would be some kind of a walkie-talkie or something along those lines, or just a little handheld radio. There's several options out there that we can use, and I recently stumbled upon one that I think is a really good fit for the prepping community. Most of us already know about the Baofeng radio. In this case, this is the UV5R family. There's many different varieties. Some are newer than these. These are little older models, but we all kind of know that they function about the same. They're typically a 2-meter 440 radio, about 5 watts, and a variety of accessories are out there. They're actually pretty nice little radios with one little caveat. This is assuming that you have your amateur radio license. As much as we would all like to think that we're going to go Mad Max and the end of the world's going to happen, the reality is we're more likely just going to lose power for a little bit and not be able to use our cell phones. These radios here are particularly handy because they have the extended battery in the back, and I put that on there more so because they have a USB charge cord. So right there is our USB charge cord. Just plugs up in the top there. Of course, your standard USB-A on the side, and that takes your standard 5 volts. It bumps it up to I think around 7.5 so that we can actually use it in these radios. Real problem with that is the only cable that can power this radio. That's the only cable that can power up the battery. So if I lose or damage this cable, that's it. I'm not able to charge these without going all the way home and using the little cradle that this would sit in. So recently for our church, I was tasked with finding a new radio that we could use in place of what we were currently using. And I stumbled upon a radio that instead of using the amateur radio bands, it uses the MURS frequencies. So right here is a nice little radio that uses the MURS frequencies. Now, what is MURS? It's basically a free band that you do not need a license for, but you're only allowed to use 2 watts, only has 5 channels, and is relatively unheard of. At least not a lot of people seem to be using it too much, or they've heard of it and they just don't actually use it. When you talk about radio communication, a lot of people first think something like a CB radio, or something like the little walkie-talkies you buy from the blister packs, also known as FMRS. There's a few others out there that are less common. There's also a few that are growing in popularity. The difference between all of those and this one is it's kind of this nice sweet spot of capability, cost, and license requirements. So if you get something like GMRS or amateur radio, you need a license for that. If you get something like FMRS or family radio or MURS, you don't need a license. So what I really liked about these is they're small, they're compact, they're easy to use, and the big thing for me is it has a USB-C charge port in the bottom. My phone uses USB-C, my battery banks use USB-C, a lot of things in my life use USB-C. So I always have a charger. I can just toss this in my car, have it with me, and I have a little USB-C charger that I can power it up. Now here's the one thing that's kind of a plus, kind of a minus depending on how you look at it, is not a lot of people are using these radios. So what does that mean for a plus? That means when you go to talk on it, there's only 5 channels, but you might be able to get your own channel all to yourself with nobody bothering you. The negative of that is if you're just going to be calling out for help, no one's really going to be on that channel to listen for you because they don't have a radio. So what I wound up doing to solve this problem is I have a radio for myself, and then I wound up building these little kits up that I can give to friends and family, and they could take it with them. So this is just a little waterproof box that I found ironically at Aldi of all places, just out grocery shopping. And I have 4 radios, so I bought 4 boxes. And if I hand them one of these boxes, it's completely waterproof, crush proof, well padded. And they get their radio, they get their charger, they get the little power brick, the antenna, and of course they get the instructions on how to use it. But believe me, these things are so simple. It's quite literally take the knob on top, turn it to the on position, and voila, you're on and ready to go. It has a couple other little functions, such as it has an FM radio, so if you want to listen in to the local broadcast stations, you can do that. It has a little pretty horrible flashlight up on top that does work, but it doesn't work really well. It's enough to see in the dark if you really need to see something small like the instructions for this, but that's about it. Overall, I've been pretty pleased with these radios, and if I do wind up having a known storm coming or hurricane or anything else like that, I can prepare these up and just hand them out to a neighbor or two and say, hey, do you mind just checking into me about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning in case the power goes out? And I'm sure they would be more than happy to. And then after the storm, they hand it back to me, and if nothing happens, awesome. I just got to hand them something that just in case, and isn't that what prepping is all about? It's a just in case, plan ahead of time to make sure that if something does occur, we don't get caught with the pants down and wishing that we had something that would have made our lives a little bit better. So if you like this video, please leave a comment for me. I do enjoy reading those. Like the video and become a new subscriber. It really does help out the channel. Also, if you want to purchase these radios, I do have links down in the description below. They are affiliate links, so I do get a little kickback if you purchase anything on those, and it goes towards helping out the channel, such as upgrading some camera equipment or buying radios like this. Until next time, have a good day and goodbye.